Johnny Athletic, Paul Allen, Nordo by my side. Welcome to the feast. What's going on, my brother?
Great to be on the feast, PA. Thanks for having me. We got a schedule for the Timberwolves, the quarterback for the Vikings. Life's pretty good right now.
Yeah, we've missed you around here. Are you perchance heading to New Jersey to run quotes for Alec at the Vikings-Giants preseason tilt?
I always love that one.
I'm going to miss that one, but just recharging the battery a little bit after a long NBA season, and I'll be back out there by the end of the month and as soon as the games start meaning something here. So looking forward to it.
What do you, and the reason for this is this caught my eye because we did it before and it worked and I thought it was cool. What do you have Sunday at 5 o'clock at Forgotten Star Brewery in Fridley? It sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's the Jon Krawczynski show live from Forgotten Star Brewery, 5 p.m. on Sunday. Having a long sit-down with Timberwolves President of Basketball Operations, Tim Connolly, talking about the summer, talking about some of the holes on the roster still, talking about looking forward to what this season is going to be about. We'll get into Tim Connolly's contract. We'll get into everything at Forgotten Star. We're going to have some ticket giveaways. We're going to have some other prizes to give away, some drink specials and things like that. So hopefully anyone who's interested in the Wolves, who wants to hear from the president of basketball operations himself, Tim Connolly, come on out to Forgotten Star on Sunday at 5 p.m., and we'll have a great time.
Now, I know you've done things like this with Finchie and maybe new Blazers coach Mike Nori. Have you ever done a public sit-down like this at a place like Forgotten Star Brewery with the big boss?
So we have had Tim Connolly one time before, and it was at our previous spot, Head Flyer, which was a great partner for a long time. And now what we're really excited about with starting this new chapter with Forgotten Star is like you've been there. It's like KFAN has had events there. It's a huge space, great, very easy to park, very easy to come in and pack the place and have a great conversation. But it'll be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to it because we can talk with Tim really a lot about LaMelo Ball, about LeBron James, about so many of like the big things that were kind of hanging in the air all summer long, and you know, Wolves fans want to get the real scoop from behind the scenes on how all of this played out, and so we'll have a ton to get into with Tim Connolly, and it should be a great conversation.
When it's an 82-game schedule and you begin in South Beach, ain't nothing bad about that with Giannis, assuming he's healthy. But what just like an overview of the schedule, what jumped out at you?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, pretty much every like marquee day in the regular season schedule, you're talking about Christmas Day, you're talking about President's Day, MLK Day, the day before Thanksgiving is another big one for the NBA schedule. And the Timberwolves are on national TV on all of those days. Jeez. So there's a lot of excitement and intrigue about what this Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball team is going to look like. And so they're going to be featured prominently on a ton of these very big marquee nights for the NBA. They also have 13 of their first 20 at home, PA, including an 8-game homestand in November. Jeez. And so when you're thinking about a team that is trying to, you know, kind of reinvent itself on the fly with LaMelo there, they're going to have a lot of time at home early on to try and get their legs underneath them and figure this whole thing out. So that's really cool to think about. And lastly, we have Kevin Garnett jersey retirement on February 28th, and then you have Naz Reid's return to Target Center on January 29th. So those should be two really big emotional nights as well.
Hey, Johnny, back to the schedule, the marquee dates. You think the league gets annoyed at all that now the NFL's clomping on their real estate, whether it's day before Thanksgiving, NFL's got a game there now. Christmas Day, you have 3 games, a couple of Netflix productions. You think the league gets annoyed by that the NFL is just kind of clomping on them?
I think so, Nordo. I mean, look, they used to own Christmas, right? That was the NBA's day, Christmas Day. It's almost like the unofficial start to the regular season is on that day, and you play all your big games and you really occupy that space. And hey, the NFL is the big bad dudes, and they own this country from a sporting standpoint, and so they're trying to get as much shine as they can as well. And so there is, it's a competition. And so the league is confident that they can still carve out a nice audience for themselves. But I think that if you were to give Adam Silver truth serum, he would say, man, I wish the NFL would give us at least just a little bit of space while they dominate pretty much everything else.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned, one of the cool nights ahead, and you've covered this team for so long. Finally, I mean, you among many have to just be like, oh my goodness, finally the number 21 is going to go in the rafters. It's going to be a cool night, and the Celtics are in town, and we don't have to talk about rifts or things or barriers that are keeping this from happening. KG's jersey finally going to be retired. That's sweet.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's going to be a great night. And when you think about one of the really difficult things over the years was just watching the very best player in franchise history and the franchise be such at odds. And the fans just so desperately wanted to celebrate KG and they just want to wrap him in their arms and say thank you for everything that you gave us. And it just couldn't happen until Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry came in and the ownership changed and bygones are bygones. And to me, Nordo, the greatest thing about this night is going to be, you look up in the rafters and you see all the Lynx championships and you see all the retired jerseys up there and it's glory and it's happiness and it's celebration. And then you look on the Timberwolves side at the names hanging up there, Malik Sealy and Flip Saunders, and it's just sadness and it's just like longing and loss. And so now you finally get to put 21 up there, and there'll be a reason to look up there and smile. And so I think that will just be really good for everyone walking into that building and just being able to celebrate, the relationship that KG and these fans have had forever and now is being repaired with the organization as well.
Johnny Athletic, Covenant Ketchup, The Athletic, theathletic.com. Sunday, 5 o'clock, Forgotten Star Brewery in Fridley. JonnyK with the big boss, president of basketball operations, Tim Conley. They're going to be giving away tickets to Timberwolves games and much more. So this hits at a nice time in the off season. Sunday, 5 o'clock, Forgotten Star with our guy JonnyK and Tim Conley. What was the general fan reaction when they announced their games would be on something called DAZN? And how did they end up landing there?
Yeah, I think generally speaking, I think there's a lot of frustration in the fan base. When you look at it, previously they had FanDuel and Bally's and Fox Sports North, and it wasn't a perfect presentation by any means, but you knew that if you had that channel on your cable or your satellite or you subscribe to their app, you'd get Timberwolves, you'd get Twins, you'd get Wild. And now you have the Timberwolves have their own thing. You have the Wild and the Twins both have their own things as well. And so if you're a sports fan in town, just trying to watch all of your teams, it's really, you got to jump through a lot of hoops to get them on your TV. And with the Wolves in particular, DAZN is not going to have a channel locally on cable or satellite that you can just watch. So you have to subscribe to the app and you have to have a smart TV to put the app on your TV if you want to watch it on your flat screen at home. And so it's a hassle. And unfortunately though, PA, with the way that regional sports networks have kind of fallen apart and all these things, it's sort of like a new reality for markets all over the country. Is just every team is trying to find a way to make up some of the money that they've lost. And so I'm sure that at least initially there's going to be a downtick in the number of viewers locally of Timberwolves games because they're not up on board with DAZN, or they don't want to pay the subscription fee, or they want it as part of their TV. But people are going to just have to adapt. This is a new way of life for consumers of sports, and it's not a great one, but I don't really see a whole other lot of options right now for them.
Sunday at 5, Forgotten Star with Tim Connolly. How much LaMelo Ball chat will emerge?
Yeah, there'll be a ton. It was obviously a huge trade, really heavily debated among league circles. There's some people around the league that love it that think it's going to be exactly what the Wolves need. There are other people that really don't like LaMelo's game, that believe that he's not ready to play serious basketball. And so, there will be a lot of kind of getting into the ins and outs, the decision process, how it all came about, what exactly Tim Connolly and Chris Finch and everyone was thinking as they tried to make a decision on parting with, a local hero in Naz Reid and some more draft pick compensation to bring in this polarizing guy. And why are they so excited about it? But, the other part of it is that, LaMelo Ball is incredibly popular with NBA fans, especially young fans. And so you can see every post that they put on Timberwolves social media and stuff with LaMelo in it just kind of skyrockets. And so there'll be a little discussion about that as well, just about the juice and the energy that he brings on that side of the equation. But yeah, we'll probably talk for 45 minutes or so with Tim Connolly, I would imagine. And I bet a good, a quarter to a half of it is going to be LaMelo Ball conversation. So we'll get a lot into it.
With the Wolves, when is the last time, Johnny Athletic, they had a point guard who beats people off the dribble like LaMelo?
Yeah, I was trying to think about this, PA, and I think you can legitimately argue that you might go back to Stephon Marbury.
Right.
And, because you had Sam Cassell, who had one great all-star year, but he was a different kind of point guard. You had Mike Conley, who was later in life, later in his career, so he wasn't dynamic like that. And then, other than that, you had Rubio, who came in and got injured, but he was not the shooter and scorer that LaMelo was. And so this is a wholly unique experience for Timberwolves fans. And I really do believe it's going to change the entire way that they play, that they feel, that they go about their business. And so, the last couple of years, they've been this big, ISO-heavy, half-court, beat you up, wear you down type of team with all that size in the front court. And now I think you're going to see them much sleeker. You're going to see LaMelo, whipping that ball all over the court. And I think they're going to be more up-tempo. And Wolves fans will get a different kind of basketball experience with LaMelo Ball kind of figuring as the trigger man versus any of the point guards they've seen for a very, very long time.
Charlotte got 72 games out of LaMelo last year. Is that set to become the norm, or is he going to be questionable every single game?
That's the big thing of, is this trade going to work out, or is it going to blow up in their face? It's, can they keep LaMelo Ball healthy? And one of the things that everyone looks at with his 72 games last year is he only played about 28, 29 minutes a game. And that was really intentional on the Hornets' part. They were trying to ease his workload and keep him healthy and keep him on the floor. One thing that is different about the Timberwolves, PA, is that, as you know, talking to Finchy, they play. There aren't rest days with the Timberwolves, and you're expected to play a lot. And so they really believe in their training staff. Their training and medical staff won the staff of the year last year in the NBA. They really believe in Aaron Searer and everyone involved with that group, Greg Farnham and everyone, to keep players healthy. But this will be their number one priority, is making sure they come up with a plan to help LaMelo Ball stay healthy, because he just has to be on the court for them. Because when he's on the court, as he was with Charlotte last year, he's incredibly impactful, makes everyone around him better. And so, they're going to need him to play, upwards of, definitely more than 65 games and higher minutes if they're going to have a chance to compete in the Western Conference.
Well, it's clear with the trading of Ball and the trading of Miles Bridges that, they're going to build it around that rookie point guard they got, along with Brandon Miller, Con Knipple, et al. Okay, so they can preach they've had a culture change. But what I really like about this line of delineation here is, if you believe there are those of authority on this side, the Timberwolves side, who are like, we're getting LaMelo Ball at the perfect time of his career. On the other side, there's somebody who's like, hey, if you think you're going to get 72 out of him, I got beachfront property in Nevada for you. So it's the rubber's going to meet the road on one of those opinions. I think that's great.
100%, PA. And that is the thing. If you want to be a skeptic, or if you just want to look at this kind of from a holistic perspective, one of the questions you do have to ask is, man, the Charlotte Hornets finally had a good year. They were competitive. They didn't make the playoffs, but they were right in it. They were really terrific in the second half of the season. And LaMelo Ball, this 25-year-old face of the franchise, had his best season. He was amazing. And yet they traded him as soon as they could. Why would a smart organization, and we believe that the Hornets are a smart organization now, why would they do that? So you have to have that in the back of your mind while you're thinking about this. And the other part that you have to have in the back of your mind is, hey, the track record of Tim Connolly and Chris Finch so far over these last 5-6 years has been really, really good. People doubted the Rudy Gobert trade. That's been a win. They evaluate guys. They help guys get better from, when they're younger to the middle of their career and even to the ends of their career. And so if they believe that LaMelo Ball is a missing piece here, you kind of got to say, all right, let's see you make it happen now, because they've earned that benefit of the doubt to this point. So it's going to be a very interesting deal to evaluate over the next couple of years, because one side clearly was like, hey, we're going to get off of this now while the get-in is good, and the other side is like, we can't wait to get this guy in. He's exactly what we need.
For those who missed the beginning of the chat, Sunday, 5 o'clock, Forgotten Star in Fridley, the Jon Krawczynski Show featuring Tim Connolly, the president of basketball operations for the Wolves. For those who missed it, should they get there early if they want to get certain seats? And you guys are giving stuff away, right?
Yeah, definitely get there early. I'll be there a little early to hobnob with everyone and hang out, and I'll stay late as well and chill out with people. So I like to do that. But yeah, get there early. We have a really good space, but I'm expecting a pretty big crowd. So if you want a good seat, get in there early, get settled in. There's great parking. It's right off 694 on East River Road, so it's super close to everything. And yeah, we'll have ticket giveaways. We'll give away a couple of pieces of art from Mr. Johnson's Paints if people know him on Twitter, and we'll have I'll do a Q&A with fans after Tim Connolly talks, and it should be a really fun time at Forgotten Star Brewery in Fridley.
Have a great summer, my brother. I'm sure I'll see you at a Vikings game down the road.
I can't wait. Thanks so much, PA.
See ya. Jon Krawczynski, Johnny Athletic, card-carrying family member of FM 100.3 KFAN. Let's wrap up two-a-days with the Vikings schedule around the corner. Week 12, Atlanta Falcons at U.S. Bank Stadium the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And their Vikes, Wes Durham, joins us next.
You're listening live to PA on iHeartRadio.
Week 11 earlier with the Niners in Mexico, and now it's on to the Atlanta football Falcons from the NFC South. Said birds are here the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and joining us now, the affable and kind stylings of play-by-play voice Wes Durham. Good morning, Mr. Wesley. How are things down Flowery Branch Way?
The humidity has spiked out at about 160% here in the last 72 hours.
Holy cow. And it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot this evening for your first preseason game too, right?
Yeah, fortunately, as you know, we have the ability to close the roof just like you do. So we'll be closed tonight with the air flowing, let's hope, freely throughout Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
It's for the Falcons with these two-a-days. It's Tua at the helm to start preseason for your squad. What is your trained eye seeing in him?
Well, it's interesting because I think he's come in and acted like you would expect a veteran too, PA. I mean, he's come in, he's been a good teammate by all accounts. He's been a guy that's helped others. He's a leader. I think he's, but he's, again, tell me if you've heard this before, too, has been a little banged up. He's had a back strain. So, once he got going, I think he's been fine. I don't know what we're going to see in the preseason out of Tommy Rees and Coach Stefanski in terms of offensive platforms, but I think Tua's in good spot. And I think I told you this in the summer back in June. This is going to be as good a team as he's had offensively around him collectively. I don't think tonight you'll see Bijan Robinson. That's just me.
Right.
But you're going to see some starters in the preseason. And look, Atlanta's in the we're all in the business of winning games, right? And in Atlanta's case is they got a new GM, a new coach, a new president, new quarterbacks. they've got to show some things tonight in their home appearance here, because this is their only home game before they play in week 2 against the Panthers. So they kind of got to show the starters a little bit here. They got to do some marketing, if you will, for the football team. So tonight, I think you're going to see a team that'll shoot it around the field a little bit. They'll try and, put the run game in front of you maybe for 10 to 15 plays. And I think Tua is a big part of that, because Michael Penix he looks good. I don't know how much of the mental block is still there for him. Only he can be honest and tell you forthright about that. But for me, I think we're a ways away from actually having a Tua Michael Penix showdown for the starting job, let's say in the regular season.
Yeah, wow. Hopefully you guys get through that quickly, because we here just went through week/month and change of wondering if it was going to be J.J. McCarthy or Kyler Murray. And just last Tuesday, they announced it's going to be Kyler, and he's going to start against the Giants tomorrow. That'll be the Vikings' first preseason game. Now, Wes, you've done this a long time, play-by-play for the Atlanta Falcons, also calling up TV games for the ACC, football, basketball, stuff like that. And with your father, Woody, you've been around this thing a long time. And here's the question. Like you said, Bijan Robinson, you don't expect him to play tonight. Justin Jefferson never has played in a preseason game, and I don't expect him to play tomorrow. However, I do expect a fair amount of the Vikings frontliners to get at least a series and a half tomorrow. So, given how long you've been around it, do you have a stance on this when it comes to playing your frontliners in preseason games? Because there are just so many injuries around the league right now.
Yeah, we've had one here. Jalen Walker on defense is gone for the year with an ACL in basically a one-on-one drill here about 10, 11 days ago. So, look, I think there is a little risk-reward to this. I do think you've got to play maybe the defensive starters. The guys you're really counting on, the veteran guys, I think you can probably get away with saying, hey, you're going to play 4 snaps in game 1 and maybe 8 snaps in game 3. But the length of time, Paul, from when they start camp to when the season starts here, to me, is still a long time, right? It's the better part of 5 weeks when you look at it on the calendar, maybe even closer to 6 for some. Now, I think the thing for Atlanta is Atlanta's got to get an offensive line kind of put together. There's a right tackle situation here. Everybody else seems pretty good up front with Jake Matthews, playing in his 700th straight game or something in week 1. But it's just amazing to me, the differences around the league in the 32 teams. And I think everybody has a different gearbox, to be honest with you. For Atlanta, I do think it's important the starters play. Not just for the external part that I spoke of a moment ago. I think it's important because I think they need to see somebody else. Now, the joint practices, I will say this, I think those are really productive.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many starters will play for Atlanta next week after 2 days or 2.5 days of joint practices with the Colts. But for me, tonight, you got to see some starters out there. You got to see Drake London. You need to see who lines up on the other side. You probably need to see at least a snap or 2 of 2 tight ends, because I think that's going to be a big piece of who they are. And you may not see Robinson because you don't have to. You don't have to see one of the top 5 players in the league at his position. You don't have to see London very much, in my opinion, but you need to see Kyle Pitts. You need to see, that O-line. You need to see the defensive front now without Jalen Walker. You need to kind of see what that is potentially going to look like when your team opens the season.
Now, with Bijan Robinson, not in the preseason, obviously, but he's all about the price of admission, isn't he? What a fun player to call, isn't he?
Yeah, not just a terrific football player, better human. And you and I both know when you run into the guys who are better people than players, you kind of count your blessings, don't you? And he is as good a person. And Atlanta's been fortunate because obviously, he came along at a time, then Matt Ryan was gone, and now he's come back in a pretty short window as the president of football. But for me, Bijan Robinson is a lot like, my college career, when I worked at Georgia Tech, I had Calvin Johnson. And Calvin Johnson, better person than player.
Right.
And you could say the same about Tony Gonzalez. And I'm sure there are a list of Viking guys that you've run into, and just pure athletes in Minneapolis for sure, who are like that. And Bijan fits that bill. Terrific guy, comes up, always speaks to you first, and always wants to know something about you. which, strikes you as being like, wow, he's really asking about something I've got going on as opposed to, telling me something he did. And I think he's as good a person as I've ever been around in the league for sure.
Hey, Wes, speaking of Falcons immortality, kind of outside the current nature of the covenant, is Julio Jones absolutely the best receiver in the history of Falcons football, or maybe could it be Roddy White or Terrence Mathis?
Julio Jones would be on that list.
Yep.
He would probably be at the top of the list. I mean, when you just look at the dominance he played with and the way he played, he was hurt, and I think that it actually caught up to him at the tail end of his career with Philadelphia and Tennessee and some of those stops he made. But, in his prime, he was as good as this league had. And for me, you just had to, be careful you didn't screw up the call. I mean, he was the go-get-it guy, and he and Ryan made unbelievable music here. And when you had Tony and Julio, you had Gonzalez at tight end, Julio and Roddy on the wides, you were hard to guard, man. I mean, I think you and I could have run the ball for 4 to 6 yards every time if you had that on the perimeter. But on the Mount Rushmore, he would probably be there. I mean, he and Matt Ryan would probably be on the Mount Rushmore together. And then you get an argument about William Andrews because of how great he was here in the 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
And then, Tommy Novus was the first draft pick out of Texas before they learned how to keep tackle stats correctly. I mean, Tommy Novus probably had close to 200 tackles in NFL seasons, to be honest with you.
Man, we could mess around this for hours. What about Steve Bartkowski?
Oh, yeah. I mean, number 1 overall out of Cal. I tell Bart now he's an ACC legend because Cal's in the league now, so why not?
Yeah, right.
But, Bart came here at a time a little bit. I think he and Ryan had an unbelievable relationship, he and Matt did, because Bart came here at a time when there was a little unrest with the franchise, right? And was such a great player, and Ryan did the same on the heels of the Michael Vick stuff. And both of them really moved the franchise forward in their own way, which they both deserve credit for, no doubt.
Wes Durham, the play-by-play voice for the Atlanta Falcons, coming up on 2.5 decades, does a lot of TV work with the ACC football and basketball, and he's salt of the earth. This is 2-a-days, week number 12 for the Vikings with the Atlanta Falcons. And in like doing a catch-up on the Falcons and reading some stuff last night, so some pundits claim it's best for the Falcons to focus on 2027 and not 2026. Do you see it that way?
No, and I don't think Ian Cunningham, the new general manager, sees it that way either. And that's why those guys get paid to write it, I think, because, I can see where they're coming from, but I don't believe that's the case here. I think they're trying to win. They want to win. They're building a team. As Ian told me, we're trying to build the foundation without any cracks in it. And so they really, and he said in his opening press conference here, Paul, he wants draft picks ultimately.
Yeah.
And I think he learned it from Howie Roseman. I know he's worked with Ryan Poles. He has some Ozzie Newsome experience in his career. I mean, you look at Howie Roseman in Philly and Ozzie in Baltimore. I mean, why wouldn't you want picks, right? They did so much with picks. And then you fortify in free agency. And look at what they've done since he's been here. I mean, they've re-signed Pitts, they've re-signed Robinson, they've re-signed London, they've re-signed Matthew Bergeron at left guard. I mean, they've done it the right way. Now, Jesse Bates will be up, I think, after this year. But everybody that kind of is here is under a contract that's now stretches out 3 or more. And for me, I think that's the one thing about Ian I've noticed. He's honest when he says we don't want any cracks in the foundation. And I think so. Yeah, they may not have a great 26, and a lot of people don't expect them to. But again, this is the NFL, and somebody you don't think is going to be good is always good. And the question here would be, why not Atlanta?
Hey, Wes, you mentioned the name Kyle Pitts, who, he's back with the Atlanta Falcons, got himself a lot of money. From afar, the outsider's view, I've just had a tough time wrapping my mind around Kyle Pitts because I remember when he was drafted from Florida and he was drafted super high, and he's not like David Njoku, big and muscular, but he's very imposing and he checks all the boxes physically. But when the Vikings are in Atlanta, it was Jonnu Smith getting loose for 60 and change. And, I'm looking at Kyle during the course of the year, and you see good stuff, but it just doesn't seem like it ever blows up. What do you think about him?
I think there's got to be some consistency. I think you hit it right on the head because the thing that people point out here is Kyle did all that work last year, and people were excited about it and had the unbelievable Thursday night game in Tampa. But he did it without Drake London on the field.
Right.
And people here want to see if Drake London and Kyle Pitts can get along. That's been a big question in the preseason, to be honest with you. And it's probably a good one and a fair one.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things that challenges Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees, to be honest with you, Paul.
Yeah.
Is can these two guys do it together, and can they do it this year together? Because you put them on contracts, so now let's see if you can make it happen type deal.
Right. Very fairly stated. All right, a few to close for Wes Durham with a 2-a-days, 9 to noon. All right, Week 12 at U.S. Bank Stadium. I mean, I'm asking you to cast your gaze and speculate and just kind of guess. And we'll talk to you up to the game, so we'll see what happens then. But Week 12, U.S. Bank Stadium, here come the Falcons. Who probably will be your quarterback, Tua or Penix Jr.?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Come on.
It's too hard.
What if I told you Jack Strand from Minnesota State Moorheads had a hell of a camp? I mean, come on,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm going to hope it's Penix, only because I think Michael deserves a fair crack at this. How's that?
Yeah, it's fair. Now, the Vikings play the Giants tomorrow for the first preseason game.
Sure.
And we get wide receiver Darnell Mooney, who now plays for the Giants. How did he play for the Falcons? Because I've always liked his game.
Yeah, and you saw him in Chicago early in his career, too. So here's where I would go. 2 years ago, he was healthy, he was fast, he was reliable. He got hurt in the opening practice a year ago, training camp, and I don't think ever got to full speed last year. And to be honest with you, Atlanta was put in a really tough spot. Do you let him walk or do you sign him? And you couldn't risk getting a guy back that couldn't play like he played in 24. And that's why they opted to let him go. And I think he's a really good wide receiver. I think he's a craftsman, and you know what I mean by that, more than a guy who's just a superstar. But, I mean, you'll see him sprint the field and make the long play, and people say, oh, well, he can really run. Yeah, but I think he's a craftsman because he knows where to go. He knows where to go to get the ball. But is he 100% healthy? And if he is, then the Giants have gotten a steal for Jackson Dart on the other side of Malik Neighbors for sure.
Now, for you guys, wide receiver Zachariah Branch, the rookie third-round receiver / specialist from Georgia. Is he turning heads at training camp?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't know what you're going to see in the preseason, but I think in the early part of the regular season, he's going to line up everywhere. I think he could. I think he's and I don't do this often. There's not a lot of hyperbole in this. They're going to line him up like they line up Tyreek Hill.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if he's that, but he's going to play, and we get caught up with the gadget term, right?
Yep.
He's kind of that guy. He's the guy that can line up in the backfield. He can line up in the slot. He can line up X. He can line up Z. He can throw the ball. I mean, not throw it, not 50 yards, but I mean, he can throw the ball. And he did a lot of things combined at USC and at Georgia that I think made him potentially a big time steal. Now he's had a little off the field stuff, but he is, he's been terrific in camp so far. And I'm excited to see what he does tonight. And kind of excited to see how they evolve him once the season starts.
Hey, man, good for you guys on that because, I'm always pulling for you and Coach Stefanski. Last one. Who's the team to beat in your division because the Vikings get them all?
I'd probably say Tampa. I mean, Carolina obviously won the division last year. It happened on math. Tampa kind of caved at the end. But, I mean, they had a really good draft. Not a bad free agent run. Baker Mayfield without a contract, PA, come on, man. We can see him just coming in and being a gunslinger all year, right? I mean, the guy is tough. He loves the challenges, loves to play to the haters type deal. I think they can run it pretty well. Yeah, I would say Tampa would be the favorite for me, although I think I told you this in the summer. New Orleans did some really nice things in the offseason.
I agree.
And the more I'm hearing about the Saints leads me to believe, and even though they lost Brian Brzee in the defensive line for the year in camp, I still think New Orleans and what Kellen Moore's got in year 2 with Tyler Shuck may be pretty dangerous by the end.
Hey, man, you're the best. Call a good one tonight. We'll catch up down the road.
Brother, look forward to it. Be well. Have a great season, okay?
Yep. See you, bud. That's Wes Durham, the play-by-play voice for the Atlanta Falcons. And two-a-days is through week number 12. This is 9 to noon at FM 100.3 KFAN.
This is PA on iHeartRadio and KFAN The Fan. Guaranteed human.
Our iHeartRadio music.
Here they come, news due north, Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com, made in Minnesota night tomorrow, 5 o'clock. If you head to the track, wear a jersey of your favorite local team, CanterburyPark.com.
Who calls the races when you're in New York, New Jersey area?
KG.
That's going to be fun tomorrow night. Now, what started out as fun, and I'm sure those were like me, you got to pop in, you got to see it. Field of Dreams became Field of Screams. The Twins just got pasted down there in Iowa. 7-1. I think it was Schwarber with a couple of bombs.
Right out of the gate.
By the way, it was cool, and Luke Keeschel, I think, did hit the home run for the Twins, securing their only run of the day. It's kind of cool to hit it into the cornfield, though. That was kind of fun, even though it was their guys doing it. Nola went 5, gave up 1. 5 earned from Taj Bradley. They chilled today. I guess they fly in and fly out. There's not really, it's in the middle of nowhere, right? So it's not like they're staying at the glitzy hotel. They just go straight to. It's about business, win or lose, and head home. They chill today. And then tomorrow, it'll be Luzardo going for the Phils, and then Connor Prelip for your Minnesota Twins. As it stands now, the team, who is currently 3 games under 500, 3.5 back in the division, they still are just 1 game out of the wild card, and that just doesn't change. There's a lot of middling in the American League, and the Twins are among them. Best of luck this weekend.
How badly did those kiddies want Skubal out of the clubhouse? They've won 7 of the last 10 and leapt us.
They're absolutely scorching hot right now, post-Skubal. We don't need him. We don't need Tarek.
Right.
Tarek or Tariq. I think it's Tarek.
Right.
But yeah, the kiddies are looking good right now. NFL, the preseason football, not at its best yesterday. I tried to. You just get the one drive from Jordan Love. That's all good. And I think the rookie kicker, and I'm completely losing it on his name right now.
Hit from like 60.
Yeah, 58 he did. And so Trey Smack, who I've nicknamed Trey Smack the Upright because apparently he's had an awful camp.
Wow.
Looked terrific yesterday. So maybe there's some optimism for the Sinikins and the Blakemores of the world.
If I'm throwing a Tennessee Titans preseason covenant, we're super excited, and we watch the first, 10 plays for Cam Ward. My group's like, oh my gosh, what happened? What happened with that draft pick?
Other than that, just unload, Mendoza looked pretty good last night. He looked proficient and competent. Much more room to grow. Joking, Kirk Cousins, his first days in the silver and black. He had a touchdown on his drive. Drew Aller kind of lit it up statistically in a preseason game against Packers reserve, so people pumped about that.
Wherever Jeremiah Love was being drafted, you can move him up 15 spots the way he jump cut last night.
Yeah, and they did win that in lopsided fashion, and that was your first peek at, I believe, the number 3 overall pick in Jeremiah Love. But Terrion Arnold, this is something to watch, and I wonder how this comes up or doesn't come up when you're watching Hard Knocks with the Seahawks.
Yep.
Is Terrion Arnold, of course, released by the Lions over the summer after news and, police charges, right? I think he's serving up against 8 felonies on this list for kidnapping, and I think some people put a gun in some guy's mouth, a lot of negative stuff taking place around Terrion Arnold.
It's life in prison if it goes the wrong way.
I think so, and so I think the idea is maybe he ordered people to do this, but again, lot to go there. But the Seahawks are bringing him in, signing him to a deal, and then it's kind of like if things go the right way, maybe that's a risk-free situation for the Seahawks to give him an opportunity to get back on the field. He might go on the commissioner's exemption list while these legal proceedings advance. But Terrion Arnold, with some tough stuff surrounding him, a dark cloud indeed. He's going to be joining the champion Sea Chickens, PA.
Yeah, with Arnold. I can't believe the league's happy about this, but you're able to do this. From what I read yesterday, is they may suspend him with pay. That could be an option. The league might come over the top on this. You mentioned Hard Knocks. I thought the second episode was average. but they ended it with the ultimate tease. It was Schneider and the personnel staff watching Terry and Arnold work out in their indoor practice facility.
Wow.
And then Schneider and McDonald talking about Arnold. And that was the end of the show until next Tuesday. That's a pretty good tease right there.
I know they won't do it because their legal implications are there, but it'd be amazing to see Arnold sitting down with the coach and GM and just explaining the situation.
Right.
Although, I mean, eventually that's why they won't show it. It could be used against him in court, I'm sure, based on how he words or doesn't word certain things. But I'd love to just hear from Terry and Arnold just exactly what happened. And whatever he said, clearly the Seahawks felt comfortable. Again, maybe not the riskiest of choices for them, but they've added him to the mix. That's all I got for you on a very truncated News to Nord, brought to you by my favorite spot in Shakopee. That's Canterbury Park, the casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com.
Pete Bursich, in-booth analyst for Vikings football games. He's going to join Nordo next segment to share what excites him about tomorrow. And then Nordo and I are going to do the same the next segment in front of the Owl Roofing postgame here on a Friday football feast at FM 100.3 KFAN.
You're listening live to Paul Allen at 9 to noon on iHeartRadio and FM 100.3.